And we must learn to love unselfishly. We must learn to love not because it's something we desire, but because the other person desires. Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jenna Rose Janetti. If this is the first time you are joining in, thank you for joining in to my channel where we talk about meditation, mindfulness, spirituality. I thank you guys for coming in today. I have a very important message to share with you all. A very important lesson that I learned. A lesson that was rained upon me last night. And that is the lesson of unselfish, unconditional love. I think as a collective, this is something that we all struggle with. I think the concept of unselfish and unconditional love is something that we think we do. We can think that we are selfless and we can think that we are loving unconditionally when in reality we are not. I've lived my whole life by the quote, treat others the way you want to be treated. Although I see now there is a flaw in that premise. An important lesson was learned last night about unselfish love, what it means to love unselfishly. All of my life I've been dreaming of my divine partner, my Anderson. For 27 years I've suffered. I've truly suffered over not finding him. 10 months ago I met Levi Kendall and my best friend, and we met at this extraterrestrial meeting, something I've never really thought much about before. And when we met, he was not at all what I desired. He was not what I was interested in, to be completely honest. I was not at all attracted to him. But when I met him, I knew him. I knew that we had met before, and maybe not in this reality, but in another one. I knew that we had some kind of past life history together, and I knew the minute that I met him that there was a lesson that I had to learn. And I will be honest, 9 months later, 10 months later it's been since I met him. It was only last night that I realized the lesson that I had, what Levi was trying to teach me. And that lesson is how to love someone unconditionally and how to love someone unselfishly. Levi and I met, and one of the very first things he said to me is he found me on Facebook after we met, and he told me, "I think I like you." And I instantly said, "You think? I'm sorry, but I don't feel the same." But after that day, we became like inseparable. He became my best friend, and he started attending my meditations. So as some of you guys know, I just recently returned from China. But what you may not know is that I was supposed to leave for China a year and a half, almost 2 years before I actually left. And I was all packed up to leave. And this was in Michigan. I sold my apartment. I sold everything I owned. And my cat was supposed to come with me. My cat is the love of my life. He is my son. He is everything to me. He is my beloved. And they wouldn't let him on the plane. And I had to choose between my Zen Alexander, or my job. And I chose Zen. I chose him. And I never regretted the decision to choose Zen. I mean, Zen was my son. Like, how could I ever choose a job over him? How could I ever choose financial abundance over him? I ended up moving to Pittsburgh about 9 months after that. And eventually I met Levi. I met Levi Kendall. And after that, he had became my best friend. And after he became my best friend, I had gone on a work business trip. and I had asked him to watch my Zen. And while I was gone, he texted me and he told me about how much he loved Zen and how he wanted Zen and he needed Zen. And he said, just go to China and I'll watch Zen. And I didn't decide then, but eventually I made the choice. I needed to go to China. And Levi, unselfishly, he took Zen in. He took Zen in while I was in China. And before that, he allowed me to move into his home to save money, completely unselfishly, unconditionally, taking care of not just my boy, but taking care of me. And I came back from China after all of this Corona stuff, and I ended up coming back to Levi's house. And again, Levi took me in. And this time when Levi took me in, my feelings for Levi started to change. And so did his. I started to catch feelings for him, and he had started to lose them. I came back not knowing my intentions, not knowing how I felt about Levi, because truth be told, if I was being honest with myself, I loved Levi, but Levi wasn't Anderson. Levi wasn't my divine partner that I've been dreaming of, that I've been hoping for, that I've been praying for my whole life. And honestly, he was far from it. I realize now I started to try to change him. I started to try to change him to make him my Anderson, because I hadn't yet found Anderson. Or I was trying to change him to become someone else's divine Anderson. Started to try to make him vegan because I couldn't accept that he wasn't. I started to change Levi's behaviors. And I started redoing his house and making it feel more of a home. All in good intentions of what I thought either I wanted in a partner, or at least what any woman would want in a partner or a man. I always thought that my intentions for all these ways I was trying to change Levi were pure. And I always thought they were unselfish, because in my mind I thought, I'm making him normal, like I'm redoing his home so that a woman can come in here and she won't feel so overwhelmed, like I do, But what I realize now is I was wrong. So one day I asked Levi to grow out his facial hair because I didn't like it shaved. And personally, I'm attracted to men with facial hair. He refused for a while, and eventually he agreed he would try it. And every day he complained about how uncomfortable it was. But I continued to ask him to keep it because I liked it. And I thought he looked better that way. And so I had posted on Facebook and Instagram asking what other people thought, and if he should shave it or he shouldn't shave it. And almost everyone agreed with my perception that he should keep his facial hair and he should continue to grow it out. But the truth is, and what I realize, is that Levi's decision to want to cut his beard hurt me. Like, it really hurt me. And I took it personally. And I had to sit with myself and ask me, why? Why does it haunt me that he wants to cut his beard? And this played out in so many different dynamics in our relationship, where he would do things that had nothing to do with me, like his own preferences in his life. So I sat and I asked myself, why am I taking this so personally? Why does the things that he does, why does what he does with his body, why is that hurting me? And I realized that what I have been doing is loving Levi conditionally. A few days before that realization, I thought that I may have been falling in love with Levi. Yet that feeling, as I make this video, fades away. And why? because I realize now that my love for Levi is conditional. I realize that I love Levi when he is being how I want him to be. I am loving Levi the closer he gets to my idea of my divine Anderson. I realize I was being selfish, and I was selfishly loving Levi rather than unselfishly loving Levi. And I think we all do this. We all do this, and we all put these conditions on the people that we think we love. And we love them when they're being for us what our reflection of what we think they should be is. And I realized I only wanted Levi when Levi was being what I wanted him to be. I was selfishly reflecting on Levi what my perfect image of what I think Levi should be onto him to become. This example of the beard taught me an important lesson, and it taught me not only what I was doing wrong in my relationship with Levi, but what I did wrong in every relationship that I've had previously. And most importantly, it taught me why my divine Anderson hadn't manifested, because I still needed to learn the lesson of how to love unselfishly and how to love unconditionally. I always thought I was loving unconditionally, and I always thought that I was a selfless person, but I realize now I wasn't. And I sat with myself and I asked myself, like, am I a bad person? Am I a bad person because I'm being conditional? Am I a bad person, like, for wanting all of these things? And the truth is, no, like, absolutely not. I'm not a bad person. The truth is, the way in which we love, we learn from our childhood. We learn from our own family dynamics. The way we love and receive love is based on the way we absorbed love, the way we were taught love, and we learned to love as a child. If we came from a family that was continually conditionally love-based, then we start to confuse that, and we start to think that that is love. And, you know, within my own personal dynamics of my own family, I always thought that my family was the most unconditional, loving family in the world. And I thought this because no matter what anyone's behavior was, no matter what anyone did, no matter what substances people used or didn't use or what happened, like, my family has continued to accept and love and welcome and not turn them in and do all these things that I thought it was unconditional love, but what I realize now is enabling. So in my own family dynamic, you know, my parents loved each other when the conditions were satisfactory for themselves. My mother is a great person. I adore my mother. I love my mother. But in her relationship with my father, she loved my father and was in love with my father when my father was behaving in a way that satisfied her, that satisfied what she thought the family needed, right? And was my mother, for example, selfish for wanting my father to better himself? Absolutely not. It's not selfish to pursue the things that you want in your life, but it's selfish to force and manipulate your desires onto others. I saw this dynamic as a child and thought that the fact that my mother and father, after 30 years, still stayed together with all the dysfunction and all of the selfishness and all of what I thought was unconditional love. I thought that was unconditional love. But I now know it was enabling selfish, conditional-based love. So you see that the way that we love and receive love is based on the way that we observe love, we were taught love, and we learn love as a child. And we must learn to love unselfishly. We must learn to love not because it's something we desire, but because the other person desires. So, who is anyone to control anyone else when people can't even control themselves? For example, who was I to tell Levi what to do with his body? I lived my whole life by the premise, treat others the way you want to be treated. But I see now there is a flaw in that premise. And a good friend reminded me that we should treat people the way we want to be treated because they are human. And everyone deserves to be treated with love, respect, humanity, and honesty. That is good karma. But when we're treating people the way we want to be treated, only to have those same actions returned to us, it becomes control and manipulation, and in turn becomes bad karma. When we start doing for others only so that they can do for us, that is conditional, selfish, not unselfish love. True unselfish love is sometimes only seen in the mother-baby. The mother gives to a child, the mother feeds the child, challenges the child, protects the child, knowing the baby can do nothing, doing absolutely nothing for her, other than giving her a few moments of joy when the baby smiles or laughs at her. That is unconditional love. That is unselfish love. To give without any expectation or desire to have anything returned. And I realize when I'm thinking about my cat, Zen Alexander, I give him that mother-son love. I've never tried to change his behavior. Zen constantly cries to go outside, and truth is, I would much rather him not go outside. And I don't want him to go outside, but I know that makes him happy. So I let him go outside. And the only time I ever try to control is for his safety. So before I would let him roam outside until he got ticks, and he came back with 3 ticks, and I realized it is not safe for him to go outside. So I kept him inside. But then I realized he still had this need and this desire to go outside. As a mother, what was I to do? So, I made the decision that I'm going to give him what he wants. I will let him go outside, but I have to do it in a safe way. So now when Zen goes outside, he goes outside on a harness, on a leash, so that he can't go wander into the forest. I have continued to love Zen unselfishly, unconditionally, without forcing my own wills or forcing my own desires, my own wants onto him. I have embodied unselfish love and unconditional love for Zen as a mother does her son. But realizing this is how all people should be loved. All people should be loved unselfishly and unconditionally. And realizing this, I realized that I was never loving Levi for Levi, but I was trying to manipulate and control him to become my divine Anderson. Because I was sad that after 27 years, I still hadn't met my Anderson. Instead of accepting Levi for Levi, instead of accepting Levi as what he is, my best friend, and just my best friend, I tried to change that. I tried to change our relationship dynamic to make him my divine partner, to make him my soulmate, to try to make him my life companion when, if we're being honest with each other, neither him or I want that. When I realized this, I immediately apologized to him and I told him to go and shave his face. And I will tell you, he didn't even wait until I left the room to go and shave his face. But I did this because I knew that's what he desired. I knew that's what makes him happy. And him shaving his face, it gave me absolutely no satisfaction. Because if I'm honest, I really dislike. I actually hate. I can use that word. I hate when his face is clean shaved. I think it makes him look like a little boy and makes him look, less like a man. But I love him. I love him as my best friend. And maybe I don't love him romantically, but I love him. And because of that, I told him to go shave his face. And in doing that, I took the first step of learning how to love unconditionally and unselfishly. So I send this message to you guys today with my own personal example to show you guys and teach you guys unselfish love, unconditional love, and to motivate you guys to truly learn what unselfish love is, truly learn what unconditional love is, and embody it. And the first step is cut yourself a break and realize that you may not be loving unselfishly. You may be loving selfishly. And you may be loving conditionally. But you are not evil. You're not a bad person. And it's only a learned behavior. And now you have the instruments. You have the materials to change it. Unselfish love is not about giving up what you want. It is about accepting and encouraging your partner's desires and dreams as much as they do yours. It's not selfish to pursue the things that you want in your life, but it's selfish to force and manipulate your desires onto others. Love unselfishly, not because it's what you desire, but truly because if everyone learned to love unselfishly, the world would be a much better, much more peaceful, and much more loving place. So I challenge you guys, take the first step to truly love unconditionally, unselfishly. Take the first step. And the first step is being mindful. Be mindful of your actions. Be mindful of what you do in daily life. I thank you guys for joining today. I thank you for listening and allowing me to help you guys weave the labyrinth of your lives. If you guys like this video and benefited from this video, make sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. And make sure to share this video so others may be motivated to learn what unselfish love is, what unconditional love is, so that they too can take the first steps. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, more motivations, meditations, and a little bit of funniness too. So thank you guys for joining. I love you from my heart to your heart. I ask you guys to bow down with me, placing your hands to your heart, opening up your heart, bowing down, and saying with me, Namaste. For my soul recognizes your soul, that we are one soul in many bodies. Have a beautiful day, guys. Namaste.